Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, dear listeners. This is episode 82, part 2 of the Devon Dice podcast, recorded on the 29th of October, 2020. I'm Joel Wright, host of this podcast, and joining me tonight is the kind of occasional free man of podcasting. It's Sam Freeman.
Yo, how's it going?
Hey Sam, how you doing?
Not bad.
Oh.
Finally got some time off.
Sounds like everyone's busy in this time of not much work should be going on.
I know.
Everyone working from home.
Tell me about it. Well, I think the trouble is you just can't escape it because you are at home. And I've got my own business that I run with a friend, so it's even harder now to separate work from life, and as a result, and I think because we're in web development, so it seems like everybody, for some reason, despite everything that's going on in the world, all these companies are thinking it's a great time to launch new websites or have their websites redone, or launching new companies and stuff, which probably is a good time to do it, really, in preparation. Get the groundwork laid before the world comes back to normal in some ways. But it just means we're absolutely run off our feet. I'm not sure I can't even remember the last time I was on a podcast, but to give you an idea, after lockdown, we decided we had to employ more people, and we've now employed 2 new developers.
Wow. After
lockdown started, just because we're so busy, and we could easily employ probably a couple more at this point. It's insane. So, yeah,
that's
times.
Pretty impressive for because there's a lot of businesses that are actually not doing that well, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, we're kind of very, we're not really. It hasn't really affected us other than the fact we don't go to an office. We're all working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of, because of our work's very virtual, very digital, we're also doing an awful lot more work now with North American companies. So there's an agency in Vancouver that we're now working quite a lot with. Another one in New York we've just got a bunch of work from. So I'm not sure what that means, but we just it just seem to be picking up lots of these kind of projects now, which is it's great. It just means that even though we've employed 2, we employed 1 developer thinking, well, we'll get another one because we can justify it, and at least that way we'll have a bit of capacity, and we still don't have any capacity. So the idea was to employ people so that me and James, my business partner, wouldn't have to do web development ourselves. We'd be able to run the business, and therefore hopefully be able to get some free time for ourselves. And that hasn't happened very well because we're still too busy. So I'm still developing websites, which I shouldn't be because I'm terrible at it. But never mind.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh yeah, believe me, I'm terrible at it. Don't tell any of my clients that.
No.
When they hear it's me.
Well,
I stick to the primary schools and the small local businesses.
I wouldn't say you're terrible, right? You're probably you're better than me because I can't design anything like that. But
no, I'm terrible compared to our team. But that's the idea: is you're always meant to employ people that are better at it than you, and I've definitely managed to do that. So that's good.
Well, that's the way it's done.
Enough about work. Let's talk about some more.
Well, I was about to say the last time you were on a podcast was with your friend actually, Rory Mondoon.
Of course, yeah, Rory's, yeah.
So right. that was episode 80. So it was only 2 podcasts ago.
About 3 months ago.
It was. That's how infrequent we are in a minute. But so how is lockdown actually doing for you? Are you actually playing games physically, or is it
not
all
very much
virtually?
Yeah, I have managed to play a couple of games. So back earlier in the summer, I helped Joe and Rich, friends of the show, to build their patio.
Oh yeah.
And it was all outdoors, so it was safe. And then they got this nice big in their new house, they've got the kind of like big double door kind of thing, so it's kind of like an outdoors indoor kind of situation. But we played a quick game of Wingspan after we'd finished as a reward for ourselves, so that was nice. And then they've been up since, so after lockdown ended properly kind of thing. Well, not ended, but you're allowed more than 2 households and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They've come up a couple of times as well, and so we've played played a couple of things again. I think we played a bit of Wingspan, a bit of Clank,
Mm-hmm.
things that we really love playing more than anything else, really.
Yeah.
And I think it's when it's so infrequent, an opportunity to play games. I want to play stuff that I know I'm going to like and enjoy. So that's what we've done, really. Which means I haven't done much in the way of variety, but certainly had a chance to kind of at least scratch the itch once every 6-8 weeks, something like that.
That's good. That's pretty good. I mean, but then you also help yourself to Board Game Arena. You seem to be a bit of an expert with it at the minute. So.
So I've got about 20 games on the go at any one time, and all turn-based, not like real time. That would be nuts. Mm-hmm. But it does mean that I've got something to kind of get my teeth into a little bit. And we do try and sort of keep our. It was Tuesday nights, now it's Wednesday nights randomly. Group that would normally go to the pub. We sort of meet up sporadically online and play stuff on Board Game Arena.
Yeah.
Normally on a Wednesday, but like I couldn't make it because I was working late last night. So I think it was only Nick and Adam yesterday that played. But a couple of weeks ago we had 6 or 7 of us playing and things like that. So that's quite nice. We have like 2 or 3 hours of playing stuff on Board Game Arena.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It keeps the gaming wolf from the door, so to speak.
What's your favourite game on there to play?
On Board Game Arena? Most played would be Can't Stop, but that's simply because it's such a quick and easy thing to just play. But I'd say out of the current crop, let's have a look at just while we're on, I'm going to have a look at my tables in play and see which ones I've got the most of at the moment. I mean, I seem to play mostly. Alhambra just started as a beta, and Alhambra's great on there. I like that. But I'd say Potion Explosion, Tobago, Seven Wonders, that kind of stuff. Seven Wonders Duel is a really good implementation, actually.
Yeah,
that's very good. And Downforce, I know that you've played Downforce, and I never got a chance to play it properly in the table format. But we had a go at it on here when it first went into beta, and that's been the discovery of lockdown, really. And I think since we all started playing that, 3 of the group have gone and bought their own copies, even though there's no one to play it with. They've gone and bought their own copies, so and all the expansions. So clearly that's a hit.
Yeah, I've just noticed they've actually got the new expansion that's not even out here yet.
Exactly, yeah, World Ride, yeah. That's been out for about a month.
That's crazy, isn't it? Really, but
yeah. And Seven Wonders Duel has got the Agora expansion as well, which is only just released or will be releasing. So that's quite good. I think it's all part of their sort of Spiel Digital tie-in, that one, along with a couple of other ones. But it almost surprises me they haven't done Tobago Volcano as an expansion yet.
No.
We'll come to that.
Yeah. I mean, just in the last few days between releases of podcasts, they've released St. Petersburg as a beta, which is an old classic, but yeah, that's just how quickly they're actually now pulling these games up, which is
they are
quite impressive.
Quite quickly. Yeah. I mean, they've got
Concept.
Where is it?
Yep.
Oh yeah, Concept went into beta. And then in the alpha, they've also got El Grande going on.
Have they?
Which is a biggie, obviously. And they've got Caravan, which I think is a new one that's one of the new releases. I can't remember who it's from. That's another Rio Grande game. So they've obviously gone into partnership with them a little bit. Well, the Amigo card game Rage, which I've just seen as well, that's on my list of games from Spiel Digital that are being released. Just one of those little kind of quick, like 6-nit sort of style games. So yeah, they're sort of hammering through some of these games. We've got Dungeon Pets is in alpha at the moment.
Where's the alpha selection?
Is on alpha. Yeah, alpha. If you go to games, if you go to Board Game Arena, then go to games. Then underneath the beta games, it should have alpha games.
No, I've got core games. Oh, you're on the alpha list.
Yeah, see.
That's how many games you've been playing.
Exclusive. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. If I'm a subscriber, maybe you don't see it unless you're a.
I pay premium.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It must be there. Alpha must be there somewhere. It's between beta and core for me.
It's not for me.
I'll just give you a couple of things that I can give you the
Gone in.
The hot tips coming up. We've got Bonanza, the Uwe Rosenberg bean trading game.
Okay.
That's in alpha at the moment.
Yeah.
Hanabi is in alpha at the moment. You've got the Dice Forge Rebellion expansion. Magic Maze is in alpha. I don't like Magic Maze, but I know people do. The Martian Dice, the dice throwing game. That's quite a good one for chuck about fun. That one's on there. Tashkalar expansions. I think Tashkalar's on there already anyway. Solar Storm, which is one of the games that Rory did some graphic design for. I think we probably talked about it when he was on. That's on alpha there at the moment. Via Magica, which is a new release, I think. That one's in alpha.
Yeah.
Just Desserts, Letter Tycoon, Ginkgopolis, Dungeon Pets, Dinosaur Tea Party.
Dungeon Pets is one I've always wanted to play, so that would be good to play that.
There's another one of those that was on, I think Dungeon Pets is on the French one, which I can't remember the name of now.
Yucata?
Wataju.
Wataju,
yeah, Wataju. But so was it's the only reason I used that service was for Alhambra, but now Alhambra's on BGA. That's it. I've got that. So is Rallyman. Rallyman was on Wataju as well, but BGA have clearly got themselves sorted out as the place for digital implementations. But they've got Dungeon Pets as well, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, every week there's 2 or 3 new games that appear in the alpha, and normally there's at least 1 or 2 that come onto the beta list as well, which is great.
I think before I've seen if you want to get onto alpha, you need to play a certain number of different games and a certain number of different times.
Oh, maybe. Maybe. I mean, I've played every mode and a ton of the different games, so maybe that's why. But you also need to sort of sign up to be an alpha player. There's like a commitment you've got to make to do it, because essentially you're the one that's like you're a proper beta tester. Really, it's not really beta. It's more like a beta is kind of like a pre-release.
Oh wow! Apparently here you need to have played at least 40 different games and played more than 500 games in total.
Oh, there you go.
Bloody hell, Sam.
Oh yeah, I'll give you my stats if you like. Let's go. Let's have a look. See if there's some stats on my profile. There's bound to be how many games I've played and stuff. I've played 1,816 games in total so far.
I've only played 66 games.
Trying to think, somewhere it tells you how what your rankings are for different games, which is cool as well. I can never remember how to find it, so I won't bore anyone's detail. Waiting. At one point, I was number 16 in the world at Tobago. I was proud as anything about that.
So how many games have you played altogether, did you say?
1,816.
Wow.
Oh, here we go. I found if you click on your experience thing, it gives you a list of like your sort of achievements and the games you've played and stuff. I've played tons of games. Looks at that. So as an example, I've got a 69% win rate at Tobago. Currently ranked 71st in the world. Takanoko, I've got a 57% win rate. Potion Explosion, 64%. That's pretty good. Quite happy with that.
28 different games. So I've got I've got to play a few more different games. And nearly 400 games to get onto alpha listing. So
20, 40, 60, 62 different games I've played on there.
This is the thing, is like beforehand, I mean, Board Game Arena was not my go-to. It was I looked at their games before and I was like, there's not much I want to play on there, and didn't really find it a draw to scratch the itch. But now with in this situation, it's like, okay, where can I go? What can I do? Kind of thing. And it is that thing of that turn-based thing is actually pretty good, because as you said, you've got 20 games on the go. I've got 9 games on the go, and that 9 games is always increasing, because it's like, oh yeah, I might start a game of this. And and
it does kind of give you the option of playing real time as well. So you can I like the fact that it separates the two. So if you think, I've got like a couple hours to kill, then you can play real time games. But like me, I'll be like, I'll just set a few games going. I can play a couple of turns, and then what I'll do is, it's normally like when I'm working and stuff, I'll be like, right, tea break, fire up BGA. I've got 6 games that have got turns. Great, have my cup of tea and play my 6 turns. Back to work, and then check again a couple hours later. And it's just a nice way of being able to sort of play a few games and also practice games as well. I mean, Not that any of the ones I play are particularly strategic, but I'd imagine for things like El Grande and the games like Zolkin, for instance, you can sort of pick up good methods of play and things from the play people that you're playing.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, and this arena thing. So you said, have you tried Arena? Which I kind of like. Ooh, what's that all about?
So when you're on BGA, you basically have when you go to play now, you've got a choice. There's three choices at the top of the screen. The middle one is like turn-based or real-time play. The left one is whether you want to play with your friends or play manual or play automatic. I always have it on manual. But the other one is normally it's set to simple game. But the two other options are arena and tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And tournaments I've never played. I've got a couple of friends that play a lot of can't stop tournaments. And tournaments just mean it's like a pool of players, and you basically do like knockout style tournament play and see how far you can get. But arena mode is quite nice, where you can play in again turn-based or real time. And with arena mode, it has like set player counts. So for instance, Can't Stop will be a 2-player game. Seven Wonders will be, I think, a 3-player game, that kind of stuff. And if depending on how well you do, you'll get a certain number of points, and you've got different ranks. So you've got bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, I believe it is. And it sort of just gives you an idea of how it's almost like a league, I suppose, is the way to describe it. It's like a kind of insight league, which is quite cool. It's just a bit of a fun way to do it.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, what you do is you go to select arena mode, and it will kind of give you the list of games that you normally want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be a button that says just play now, and you just hit play now, and what it does is it just match makes. That's all you have to do is click play now, and eventually it will. I just go play now, play now, play now, play now on all the different games I like to play, and eventually I'll just get like a heap of games on the go. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've just clicked on it now, and I'll see what happens. But so yeah, that's pretty cool. Something you learn every day.
Yeah, I think I think lockdown's kind of been almost revolutionary for BGA. I think when lockdown first started, because it was kind of like a fairly global event, their servers got absolutely hammered, and for a couple of days it was just difficult to get on. Turns weren't coming through. Their servers were obviously kind of falling over from the amount of attention they were getting.
Yeah.
But the thing is, not a lot of people went and subscribed, and a lot of their games now as well, you can't create tables for some of the premium games. So just looking at it now, Seven Wonders Duel, Downforce, even some of the old popular ones like For Sale and Carcassonne, they're kind of premium games. So you can join a premium game, but you can't set up a premium game if you're not a subscriber. So a lot of people basically signed up, and that gave them obviously the money to be able to get some actually good servers that could cope with the load, which is brilliant.
No. Yeah, it's definitely picked up pace since lockdown, and hopefully they keep carrying this on and keep it going strong. So
I can't believe it wouldn't now, to be honest. I think it's grown some legs.
I bet you it's drawn a lot of people in, like that weren't even in the hobby.
I'm pretty sure early on in lockdown they kind of gave an idea of how many more sign-ups they had, and they had a massive growth in sign-ups. And obviously I've noticed quite a lot of people I'm playing games with now are subscribers too. Because you're only talking about, what is it, €20 a year or something? It's it's not very much given the amount of fun you can actually get out of it.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's just kind of got to a critical mass now where there's enough of a base player level that it will just keep going even when the world's inverted commas back to normal, whatever that will end up being. I think there'll still be a lot of people that end up playing on here, either with friends or just randomly like I do. And as an example, I've got Saturday nights, not every Saturday, but there's me and Bill and a couple of our friends, whoever's around basically. We kind of go, that's our beers and board game night now. They're down, some of them are in Plymouth and Cornwall and stuff. And we just kind of have like a hangout, Google Hangout or whatever, and chat, drink beer and play games on Board Game Arena. Really good fun. And I think a lot of people are going to carry on doing that, I would have thought. Yeah,
definitely. So yeah, I've played a couple of physical games along with games on BGA, and one of them was Rococo. And I bring this up because I recently received my email from Meeple's Corner saying that the new edition, Eagle Griffin edition, is actually ready to be delivered. So he was asking for money basically, and so yeah, I instantly paid for it because I am so excited to get in this new copy through. Because it's got all the expansions with it as well. So and I love this game, but I did get it out and play with the wife who liked it before, and this is the first time I played it 2-player, and I kind of felt it didn't work with 2 people. There's no competition other than between yourselves, so it's kind of like, oh, I grab that spot, you grab that spot. There was kind of no one kind of else getting in the way, and I kind of felt like the 2-player needed like a AI player, just doing whatever, just doing random things of getting in the way and taking up spaces and making you push for certain things a little bit more. So then it kind of got me thinking whether I could create an AI just using another player deck. I don't know if you played it, have you?
No, I've still not played it.
No, so it's a semi deck building game where you start off with a starting hand of cards, and you can buy new cards to put into your deck. But that's not the biggest thing about it. I mean, it's only a little bit. It's mainly a area control game, where you're actually trying to make dresses and put them out in the palace. And depending where you put them, might score you points at the end of the game. It's really unique. I mean, at the end of the day, it could have quite easily been some kind of war game, but they fluffed it up. Literally fluffed it up with like dresses and
with frills and tassels.
Yeah, lace and things like that, and it's just so unique, and it's just great game in the way it is. And so each round, everyone plays. You might just play only 3 cards from your deck. What's the great thing is, if you've got your deck, you actually pick the 3 cards you want to use that round, which is another unique thing. Usually on the deck builder, you draw the top 3 off and that's it. But in this, you pick your whole deck up and you can pick the cards you want for that round. I just thought, well, with AI, you could just use their deck and flip over a card and do the basic action of... so there's 3 people in it on these cards. There's a apprentice, a journeyman, and a professional. Not a professional. Master. Let's just say master. And depending on their level, depends on what they can do. So like an apprentice can only really buy cloth and put decorations out. So if he comes out, all right, he just put that just puts a token on the board and takes up a space. If a journeyman comes out, then he could either get the Queen's Favour, which is basically like the first player token in the game, or do something else. I can't remember what I thought. And then the professional, the master, if he came out, he would instantly just make a dress from the row and put it out on the board, taking up a spot. And I just thought it seems like a simple AI mechanic that I would like to play around with to see if I could create some kind of like shadow person playing against you while you're in the 2-player mode, just to make it a little bit more edgy between you two. Because the missus said, yeah, the thing I miss is basically showing, oh, you dick, you took the space I wanted, or something like that. But there was none of that, because it was kind of like it's too much on offer, and there was no kind of risk of you losing that or something like that. So he's like,
no tension really.
No tension. That's it. So that's what I was looking for. So I was like, so it needs some kind of extra player in it to work as 2-player. I went on Board Game Geek to see if other people complain about it, and no one else really complained about it. So it's either just us, or not many people play it as 2-player. So
sounds like you just, rather than having a kind of like a dummy player, you almost kind of just want like a marker that just goes around and blocks off certain spots or something, either randomly or in a programmed kind of way, so you know.
Well, that's it. That's basically.
It's just some things you just can't do.
That's basically what I was kind of. Yeah, is that's what that will do, is you just use someone else's deck and flip over a card and you just program it, working out what spots would be most valuable at the time and work along until, right, we'll take this spot up then. So yeah, Rococo, it's great with more than 3 people or more than 2 people.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the brand new version. And of course, I'll probably do some kind of unboxing video for it when it does arrive. So look out for that when it drops. Yes, not played much more else physically. I have got my copy of Season 0 Pandemic Season 0. So read through the rules. I mean, to give you a hint, if you've not heard, it's set in the 1960s, and it's about like espionage and the Cold War and the fight between Allied and the Russian conflict going on. And I mean, this is prologue still, and I've not even played the prologues. This is what you get right from the beginning. You're basically trying to figure out whether Russia's making this Medusa plague disease, or where it is, how it works, and blah blah blah. So I'm not told you any spoilers. That's basically it. So it's kind of is the prologue to Pandemic Season 1. So yeah, looking forward to playing this once we get time.
Cool.
And that's basically it. We're going to move on. News. What did I want to talk about news? And I've not put it in the news. Got any news, Sam? There was something that I just thought of.
I'm just going to fire up my normal source for news and see what it says. Critical Role entering tabletop publishing. Oh, that's huge news.
Oh, did you see Shut Up and Sit Down have got their own game coming out now.
Have they?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a standalone expansion game to another game. Don't Get Got. So it's basically this game where you make up these what would you call kind of achievements. So like you play this while you're playing other games, or like sat there having drinks with mates, and you kind of set up this little plastic wallet of 6 things that you're going to try and get other people to do. Yeah. So say sugar, or get him to move to a different position, or something like that. So Get Got was the original one. They loved it so much that Big Potato, who make Get Got, asked them to make the sit down and shut up version of Get Got, and that's what they've done. So yeah, if you like that sort of game.
Yeah.
No, even my sources are dry.
Yeah, maybe there isn't any news.
No, maybe it's not.
Clearly nothing worth sort of thinking about then.
No. I mean, that was the only thing that I could come up with.
I guess more delays to stuff arriving, but that's been the same for the last 6 months, so who knows?
Yeah.
Still waiting for my damn Clank Adventuring Party, darn it.
Yeah, but you got no one to play it with.
5 or 6 people I can play it with, but yeah. I can still have it on my shelf.
That's a good thing. I mean, I've had so many, I've pre-ordered loads with Chris, and he keeps messaging me saying, this is coming, do you still want it? I was like, oh, but Chris, I've still got 10 other games from you that I still haven't played.
And he asked me to yesterday if I wanted a Kickstarter copy of Tidal Blades. I was like, 5 minutes ago I just spent £100 on beer, so no.
That might have been my copy he was offering you.
Oh, really? Oh.
Because he was messaging me saying it's in, do you still want it? I said, would it be a big issue if I said no? Because I said, I've got so many games here, and there's possibility of divorce papers coming through the door. And he was like, what? How did that happen? What happened? I was like, no, Chris. If another game turns up at my door, it will happen. Oh, phew, he said.
Especially a big one.
Yeah, especially another £100 game. So I said, is it a problem? Because I will buy it if you can't sell it on. He was like, no, I've got someone on the waiting list for it.
Nope.
So that might have been you.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I'm sure he won't struggle. I mean, if I hadn't committed to a bunch of other stuff, same as you already, I've kind of got it in my mind that I've committed to like 3 or 4 other things that I've got on pre-order, which are all kind of, in theory, 2 or 3 months ago I would have probably paid for and received already. But everything's kind of stacking up now, and it's going to be quite a lump to pay for when it does all come through.
This is it.
Yeah, I've got to, and let's face it, I've got no one to play with really for a while still, so there's no point in adding more stuff I'm unlikely to play for a long time, at least not right now.
Well, this is it. I mean, I've got Pandemic Season 0 now to get through. I've got number 1 to also get through, or carry on our half-played game, plus another pile of unplayed games, which is just embarrassing now.
Yeah, I mean, I've added to my collection during lockdown more than I expected to, so I could do with getting some of those played before I buy anything else too.
I picked up 2 more because I went into the works accidentally. Just like you see a works shop, everything must go. It's like, oh, let's have a look. And there was Sabordage and Castles of Caladale.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's supposed to be right, that one. That's the Renegade game, isn't it?
They're both Renegade games.
Oh,
yeah. And one was, I think Sabordage was £10 and Castles was £5. So 15 quid on 2 games, and they're meant to be pretty good games. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's okay. Shouldn't do it, but
got to be done sometime. I mean, I bought 2 for because we're going, assuming there isn't some huge lockdown that prevents us from leaving the house. We're actually gonna go away for Christmas this year.
Right.
Only to like North Devon, so not like very far. But we've hired a lodge. It's got a hot tub. We can take the dogs. Joe and Rich are coming with us, so it's kind of like because they've got nothing else they want to do. So we thought, great, Christmas, a whole week with friends, just friends, just eating, drinking, playing games. Oh my God, it's going to be glorious.
Your poor wife.
And when we're not playing games, we're in a hot tub, or we're in the hot tub playing games. Not those type of games. But I thought that what I need to do is get a couple of things to sort of take that Megan would actually enjoy as well.
Yeah.
As we know, famously, Megan is not a board game fan in the slightest. But when Joe and Rich were up a couple of months ago now, probably, I made her try Blockbuster, which I got at last year's UK Games Expo. And she didn't really like the rules element of it, of course, but actually just guessing films or giving clues and stuff, she was quite happy doing that because it's a party game. So the same company, Big Potato, they've released a music version of Blockbuster called Top of the Pops, obviously. So I bought that, and while I was looking at their game catalogue, they've also got one called Herd Mentality.
Right.
Which you might notice on the latest couple of videos of from the Dice Tower. He's got that kind of wall of games that are being reviewed soon behind him. One of them is Herd Mentality. It's a box that basically looks like a Frisian cow, so it's black and white. But the black bits are kind of furry on the box. It's kind of cool. Anyway, the Herd Mentality is a bit like, I'd say it's a little bit like, what's that game where you've got like picture cards and you have to kind of give a clue to something? It's not like Mysterium, but like the family-friendly version of Mysterium, the one that came before it. Can you remember it? What it's called? We've got like the rabbit that goes around a board.
Oh,
around the track.
Dixit.
Dixit, yeah, a bit like Dixit, right? So the idea with Dixit, obviously, well, kind of like Dixit, I suppose, is that you've got this kind of clue thing. It's word based as opposed to it picture based. But let me just get the box and I'll kind of quickly sort of remind myself. So, as an example, one of the questions might be, what's the biggest animal you could lift up, right? And that would be the question to everybody. And the idea is everyone writes down what their answer to that is, and you want to be in the herd. You want to get the same answer as somebody else, or as more people than other. So if a lot of people say a sheep, but let's say 3 people say sheep and someone else says pig, the person who's just got answered pig on their own scores nothing, whereas the others score like 3 points or whatever it is, So it's kind of just like a silly, stupid party game, which does it. I mean, it's as a game, yes, for our purposes, it's pretty crap and whatever. But for a Christmas party game that my wife will play, it sounds perfect, especially when you've got like this kind of 3D kind of cardboard, like pen that you can build like a little fence area. And in that you can put a squeaky pig, and whoever gets an answer on their own has to have the squeaky pig for some reason. I don't know why, but it just sounds stupid, and I thought, well, it's got to be worth a go. So I've bought a couple of those basically. So
it looks quite fun.
I think it's just one of those stupid. You can sit around. You don't have to. I think Megan's idea of a game is something she can sit on the sofa and not have to move far to do anything, and doesn't have to know rules. So if the rule is answer a question, she's quite happy. Whereas if it's like, you put your meeple here, as soon as you start saying anything like that, she's like, no, I'm out.
Another one you could try.
So if it's just answer a question and you've got to try and answer the question the same as somebody else, that's it. That's fine. She gets that and can do it. So we'll see. But it looks like it should be fun.
Another one you could try, which is that we quite like from Big Potato, is weird things humans search for.
Oh, the googly one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it sort of starts off the question, isn't it? It's like
so it's basically what you start typing into Google.
On there's a great series on the Wired magazine channel on YouTube. They've got a series that they do sort of now and again. They'll have like celebrities. They'll do like it's a way of interviewing the celebrity. So it might be a scientist, or it might be an actor or a musician or whatever. But it'll be like I'm trying to think of a good example of one. Daniel Radcliffe was one, I think, for instance. And basically they just film them answering the questions, like the top 10 most asked questions on Google about that person. It's quite a cool way of doing an interview. It's worth watch.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I mean, you could definitely just I could send you a load of cards via pictures if you wanted those, because that's, again, it's just one of those. You just need a pen and paper, and you read out the answer, and it's got a list of the 10 top answers that basically Google comes up with, and people have to guess. If you get the top one, you get like 4 points. If you get anything in below, you get like 1 point, and there's bonus points. And you can usually fluff it to add. If you get a point for each right answer. If you do bonus answers on it. So yeah, I quite do. I'd actually use that in college when we're having a kind of like non-lesson bit kind of thing. And the kids love it. The best one is you bring up. The best question that I always bring up is Michael Jackson ... And I was like, it is not the first thing you are thinking of. And they're like, what, really? And then they actually, once you give out the answers, they actually go on Google and, oh no, it's not. I was like, see. So I don't know if Google censor that.
Quite a fun way of actually teaching as well, though. Just think about that, because if in your classes actually kind of go like doing the same thing, but for the subject you're teaching would be quite interesting.
Sam, you have now created a ton of work for me. I will now have to try and implement that, because that is a great idea. Why does my toilet ...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Damn, Sam. Just when I thought I hadn't got enough work to do already. Right, okay.
Well, at least it's Googling, so it's not too bad.
Do you know what? My one of the chap at work, this is a bit off topic, he got locked out of this college system, because we're quite censored anyway what we can search up. But basically he was trying to find out what happens when you shoot a bullet through water, just to like I don't know, bring him to a lesson and things like that. But they locked him out of this system because he was writing about guns and shooting and things like that. He had to go to IT and like explain what he was doing before they let him back in again. It was like, oh, you're such a naughty boy.
Yeah, he should have just chosen his search a bit better, like the influence of hydrodynamics on velocity or something. I don't know, mass velocity or something. I'm sure there's a way of
not all of us went to university, Sam.
Bullet gun. Nor did I. I was far too busy playing football with my friends to pay attention in my A levels.
Me too.
Anyway, carry on. Let's crack on.
Let's crack on. Right, so
our non-news.
That was our non-news section, because unless something comes up, I really can't think what else there was. So, Kickstarter, the Mariana Trench. Now, this basically came up the day after we last recorded, because our now seems like regular host, Nick Shaw, backed it. So, I don't know if he backed it because it's a UK-based company, or he really likes the look of it. But it looks quite cool, actually. It's a 1 to 2 player game, and it is basically you're pushing your luck how far you can go down the Mariana Trench, which, if people don't know, it's like one of the deepest parts of the ocean. That is something I use in my lessons, is about pressure. And how far you go down in the ocean depends, like how the pressure builds up.
There's just a little sideline of that. Actually, there's a really good movie that James Cameron made. James Cameron, director of Avatar and Aliens. James Cameron. He took time between his Titanic and Avatar to basically develop cameras and technology and his own bathysphere to go down into the Mariana Trench, or challenge deep at least, which is part of it. And that's really cool, really good, really good. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but it's on Amazon Prime, I believe. So worth a look.
So this looks quite cool, and actually it's actually reasonably priced. It's like £18. So for this little game, and it is just deck of cards and a couple of player boards and things like that, and a few tokens. So what you're getting is actually pretty awesome, and it's done all right. It's achieved its goal, and it's still climbing. So if you like the sound of this, 10 to 15 minutes to play it as well. So I think they've done the presentation very well, and the artist is spot on. I really like the artwork they've done in this. So yeah.
Look, the one thing I would have done if I had gone to university, just to segue back to that little topic, I was aiming to go to do marine biology. So it's right up my street, the artwork and all the fish species and stuff. Very cool.
Yeah. And Plymouth is actually well known for their marine centre they've got.
It would have been until I got a really terrible careers advisor who basically tried to push me away from even contemplating doing it. Very competitive arena, not many jobs. Why do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Go and be a train driver instead. I basically gave up anyway because I had the opportunity to come live down here, and I ended up doing IT stuff anyway. But it would have been probably Plymouth I would have ended up going to. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
That's actually quite cool because they got a massive wave generating arena, I would say. So they can create all types of waves and situations of the sea and everything like that. It's pretty awesome. I went in there on a open day. They did, so I was quite mesmerised what
it's
they
one of the things
what they could do.
The pioneers of the sort of tidal energy and stuff, aren't they as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so cool. Really off topic, but so yeah, the Mariana Trench, if I can say it correctly, Bright Light Games, and this must be their first one because I've never known them before. They keep moving on. What I have noticed, have you backed anything recently?
Nothing game related. Oh, Cartographer's Heroes.
I wonder if it was in there. Now, if you back on Kickstarter, they you go into these now extra options. So where before, like if you backed a game and they had add-ons and things like that, you had to kind of either work out how much the add-ons were going to cost you and add it to your final total, or wait for the pledge manager to come out. Now Kickstarter's introduced this new so when you go and back the page, if there's add-ons, it takes you to an extra page where it says what add-ons do you want to add on to your pledge, and you can already do it from there, which is nice, but it also is quite daunting. It's like, is that how much it's going to cost me?
You have to make the early commitment a little bit.
Yeah, well, they still say you can still add it in on the pledge manager at the end, so it's kind of like, I never do add-ons in a Kickstarter, I don't think, unless...
But it's less money for them if they don't do it, though, isn't it? Because pledge manager will get the money for the add-ons, I would have thought, rather than Kickstarter. So if Kickstarter can inspire 25% of backers to back early for the add-ons, then that's extra money they're going to get instead of sending it to pledge manager, isn't it? So that makes sense, I guess. I
mean, some people do like just to like, that's right, this is what I'm paying for this Kickstarter, let's put it all in now. Some people really want to do that because they got that kind of fear of missing out still.
I think it's also a kind of, that's the decision I'm making. So if the pledge level is for the base game and you do the add-ons later, then I do that. I just think, well, I'll add them on when I get to the pledge manager.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's the way they want to do it. Where actually things like I'd probably do it via Kickstarter if I know, for instance, that that I want the add-ons and I will get them anyway, and the price ain't going to change. Then I'll just do it now. It's done. It takes all the money in one go. I don't have to worry about the pledge manager other than clicking confirm. And I guess it's just a convenience thing for some people too.
Yeah. Well, you always get the update of like, oh, this is how you add on, and this is how you put the extras onto your pledge level, kind of thing.
Right.
But now it's all there ready for you. I did notice if you try and did it via the app, it was adding on shipping for each add-on it was doing. I mean, I think because I did it for Dungeon Drop expansions, I'm now not backing it, mainly because, can't. But when I was doing it via the app, and there was like so many add-ons, like the add-ons were like $3-4 each, but each add-on was coming up with $13 shipping charge. So by the time I finished putting all the add-ons on and back in the pledge, I was looking at a $200 backing. I was like, this can't be right. So then I went actually onto like the internet via laptop and done the add-ons from there, and it wasn't adding on shipping for each add-on. So there's something wrong with the app side of it where it's doing it, but not this. So it is interesting now they've finally added this feature, but I'll probably still use the pledge manager because it helps spread out your costs a little bit more.
Yeah.
And if people want to know, yes, I have now backed Kabuto Sumo. Cool little disc pushing game. If you haven't seen it, Sam.
Oh, it looks like dexterity stuff, is it?
Yeah.
That's a freaky looking dude on the front. Sort of like stag beetle looking fella.
Yeah, it's all about beetles pushing each other off the tree stump.
That's cool.
It is quite cool. So the next one we're going to talk about, asking for Tribbles and the expansions. So Sam has a little bit of history with this game, and he's a little bit bitter now. Go on, Sam.
Well, so asking for Trobils, actually, I've still got my base game here from the original Kickstarter back 4 years ago, something like that.
Oh, probably more than that. But anyway, yeah.
It's a 2 to 7 player worker placement game that actually does play pretty darn well with even up to 7 players. I played it with 7 and it works fine and it doesn't outstay its welcome. So it's really good. It's got a very kind of whimsical space theme that kind of lampoons kind of all your favourite kind of sci-fi pop culture things. But it's fairly standard worker placement and everything. But I remember back when they first launched it, they were talking about the expansion will be coming soon. It's called Trobil Makers, and it took forever. And I think because the game it funded but didn't fund brilliantly. I think they tried to get it out to be published by somebody that wasn't like directly published by the publisher and that sort of stuff, by the designer, sorry. And eventually it did get picked up by Breaking Games, but I guess it probably went through a lot of development with Breaking Games to kind of get it to a point where it was worth releasing. So they have now finally got these two extra expansions, which still look pretty cool. And it is a game that would suit having a sort of modular expansion kind of approach, which we used to. But they've changed the artwork, for one thing. So the artwork wouldn't actually match my base game as well. And secondly, I'm a character on the first game, and I'm not in any of the expansions, so I'm kind of grumpy. I was like, my one-eyed alien with a stripy swimsuit on isn't in either of the expansions now. So, boo!
Did you design that, or did you?
No. Basically,
brought into
in the
it.
Kickstarter, they just kind of had they had space for the little standy kind of characters. They had I think there was 10 or 12 different characters that they were going to put in the game. They basically put I think it was probably on Board Game Geek actually somewhere. Probably find the original thread for it somewhere. They kind of went to the community and just said, if you've got a cool photo, you think you've got a good idea for, you can be in the game if you send us a good photo and we like it. And it was around the time that I had my big mutton chops for doing the first November thing, and then doing the rock solid race. Rock solid race. And I dressed up in straw boater, had my big mutton chops on, had a blue and white striped swimsuit, like Victorian style swimsuit on, and I had a photo of me in that, and I sent that in, and they put it to the vote, so all of the backers got to vote on which characters they liked the most, and I wasn't the most voted. I wasn't in the top 8 or 10 or whatever that got picked, but I was sufficiently high enough, or the designer liked my picture enough that I actually got on the back of the rulebook. So I have no idea if it's in the Breaking Games version, but in my version, on the back of the rulebook are all the characters that were kind of real, if you like.
Right,
and
yeah.
I'm front and centre, baby. I'm right in the middle. So yeah, it's very cool.
And that's the picture I use when I do all the podcast stuff. So if you do want to see it, it's on there.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the only picture Sam sent me, so that's the only one I use.
Yep, but it's the most accurate, so it's fine.
The thing with this is it's not doing as well the second time around. It still needs to reach funding.
This would be, it's not. I think it's partly down to the price, or mostly down to the price, because I think it would be a popular enough game, but it's just a bit expensive. Like I said, that you're looking at it being, I think with delivery, the 2 expansions for me would be about 40 quid.
Mm.
And if you want the base game, in fact, actually, I wouldn't want just the expansions. I'd want the expansions plus some of the add-ons, which come with the extra ships and some extra bits and bobs, metal coins, that kind of stuff. That would be 56 plus probably 12, 40. So you're talking about 70 quid.
Yeah.
With shipping. If you want the base game with the expansions, that's about 70 quid. So it's just, games now are expensive. They are just, in my mind, they are too expensive right now.
This is the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a lot of production that goes into these. Little plastic ships are cool and everything. I can't see that you're getting 70 quid's worth of value out of it.
If you don't have it and you want into the game now, you're looking at $112, so that's £87. With plus
that's
whatever.
For the base levels. You could go for the $3 pledge and then add on the base game as an add-on. But it would still cost you 40 quid probably total to get shipped and everything. You're better off just buying it from Meeple's Corner or whoever. They're probably cheaper than that, to be honest. See if you like it, and then get the expansion. If in theory it will come to retail anyway, so
Yeah, I think the thing is, it's out of print at the minute. I've seen quite a few copies flying around, not for a huge price, but people have been selling off their base. So I don't know if they've already got wind of, there's a second printing coming, I'm going to get that and sell this copy.
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah, I think if the artwork and the probably the production value of the components is probably better in the Breaking Games version. To be fair, so obviously the Kickstarter one was self-published and all the rest of it. So but it was pretty well done. The plastic ship models were really cool and well done. The board, because it was circular, it kind of had a little bit of not tearing issue, but the laminated board with the surface of the board would kind of peel away a little bit in places and stuff. Some of the other bits were a little bit rough around the edges, but a lot of it was perfectly good for a Kickstarter self-published one. It was very good quality, really. But yeah, I think that us a lot of gamers like us, you kind of want everything to kind of match and be right. So there's probably a lot of people thinking, well, I'll ditch my first copy and I'll get a second copy with the expansions all in the same art style. It would be a bit of a problem, I guess, especially if they've changed the backs of the cards or whatever. Then I know that people can get a bit fussy about that. I'm not so worried, but I know people can. If there's a bit of even if there's a minute colour change, it can be a problem. I suspect it's entirely new art in this, so worth thinking about. But it is a cool game. I mean, I'd certainly recommend anyone who sees a copy, especially if it's cheap or they can get it in a mass trade or something. If you like worker placement and you don't want it too complicated, it's a really good one. It's very family friendly too, because it's very cartoony and silly. It's got a cool circular board, and it's just nice. It's just a really nice game.
Highly rated by the Dice Tower.
Space carrots. I mean, what was that?
I say it's highly rated by the Dice Tower as well.
Yeah, I think it got like a recommended or whatever it is from Tom Wassell, I think, from memory.
Well, it's got the Gold Seal award, hasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Seal of approval. Get in. It is good.
Excellent seal of approval, I think. So.
Oh, there you go.
Even better.
Yeah, it's definitely worth hopping on. I mean, just as a given example with the add-ons, for instance, because with the work placement element, your workers are the ships. So you've got these little orange ships, and they're all one of them's the Serenity from Firefly, and one of them's the Enterprise. Essentially, one of them's like a Klingon bird of prey, those kinds of things. And in the new ones, I've got no idea what one of them is. Sorry, there's one called the Alyssa, which is clearly Star-Lord's ship from Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you've got the Centurion Hawk, which is obviously the Millennium Falcon. You've got the Trobils, which is actually the phone booth, Doctor Who phone booth.
Right.
The one below that, the Knife's Edge, is the one from the Mandalorian. There's two that haven't been released yet. One's called the Seeker and one's called the Zemeckis. I'm not sure what they're going to be. Zemeckis must be Back to the Future. I thought the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the Seeker is. I can't make that out from the silhouette kind of shape. But yeah, so it's cool. It's very whimsical and funny and silly. So it's good. But maybe not at the price they're asking for.
Yeah, it's like you said. I mean, that's actually not a bad for the whole lot. There's a whole lot again. £87. That's a whole.
If you imagine it's say 40. I'd say it's 40 quid for the base game and £15 each for the expansions. Which, when you look at it that way, that's not bad.
No.
Or £17.50 for the expansions and 35 quid for the base game. So it's not bad, but you don't get all the extra gubbins with that, obviously.
No.
But then, to be fair, the metal coin, you don't need the metal coins. That's worthless. They're pointless. There's no
but everything's
point
got to have metal coins in it, hasn't it? Really?
I know, but it's stupid. And these ones look a bit rubbish anyway. But in this game, it's stupid because everything's plastic or wood.
Yeah.
It'd be the only thing that's kind of got any. Why bother? Honestly, don't bother with metal coins if that's a thing. Just don't bother with it. The wood bits and the plastic bits are really nice. So having metal would actually be a bit weird. So yeah. Anyway, it's a really good game. If you get a chance to try it, give it a go.
Yeah, still one I need to play. Maybe it'll come on Board Game Arena soon.
Well, you never know.
You never know, no.
You never know. Yeah. Maybe they'll cancel this one to try and get a bit more attention. Stick it on something like BGA, and they'll get a bit of an uptick in take-up, perhaps.
Maybe.
But we'll definitely play it when we're allowed to actually kind of like hang out again one day. We'll make it one of the games we play.
This other one, I added this other one in, Cloudberries. It's not a Kickstarter per se. It's actually a puzzle. And I got sent this information because I think the person now that's doing press used to work for a gaming company, but now moved to this company that makes puzzles. So they're doing their own kind of crowdfunding and it's make your own jigsaw. And what she sent me before was like you pick the piece and the colour, and that would be your own piece and colour in this game.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite a cool idea. My missus likes a good puzzle, so I thought, well, when this actually hits and it's on, if it's not on already, then I might just sign her up and get her own playing piece, and see how it goes. But I don't know if it's actually going to a Kickstarter. I think they're doing their own format of Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's like a crowdfunder or something, isn't it?
So, but you can already buy puzzles from them. So there's a great one here for Sam, the gradient puzzle, where it's basically like a colour wheel that you find on the computer.
Oh, really?
Is this grey or is this grey? I can't
Gradient
really tell.
puzzles, let's have a look. Oh my god, really?
As in, don't miss out on our other
Jesus.
puzzles.
Oh my god. I mean, it's torture, isn't it, really?
For you it is.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's no way I could do a colour-based one. That would be nuts, but just doing a puzzle anyway. I mean, used to do it as a kid and everything, but
I love those.
It's
what was it? Not jigsaws, but jigsaws backwards. Saws wig. No. Jigsaw. Trying to think of it back. Wig saws or something like that. Wiggle. But basic. Something like that, where it's like they give you an image on the front cover, but it's not the actual image you're putting together. It's the image you could, if you look the other way from the image. So
like a mirror.
Kind of, yeah. So you're looking at. So it's like one of the great ones. I bought one for my brother this is before board gaming, many years ago, and it was basically a football match, but all these people are running off. And they're like, some of them looking over their shoulders, but like the ref's running off, and it's all cartoonish and things like that. But you've got to kind of put the puzzle together of what the ref is looking at, and it's basically a ball running through the pitch, kind of thing.
Right.
So you've got
right, okay.
you got no kind of hint of what's. You just kind of got to make out what's going on. So they're kind of good fun because there's a bit of a challenge behind it. But yeah. It's like, once you've done it, what do you do with it? You break it up and put it in the box and take it to the charity shop. So
yeah, it's quite a taste, I think.
Some people love it, don't they?
But yeah. I've sent, just as seeing this, I sent it to one of our guys at work, because him and his girlfriend do puzzles at home. Not that I think he's that worried about it, but his missus does, and so they do it together, kind of thing. And
yeah.
That might be quite fun. And the fact that there's the gradient one, so I've sent him the link to the gradient one.
Is he colourblind too?
No, but we're in an arena that makes use of gradients. So,
right.
Yeah, it's quite a key part of some of our work.
Yeah, I bet.
So, like the pixel one, for instance, where you've got like the kind of pixel chart of colours, that sort of stuff. I can imagine him thinking that's quite a nice one for his missus for Christmas or something, perhaps. If I gave my wife one of those, I think I would probably get divorce paper for Christmas. So I'll stop with that.
Is there anything she likes doing except for sitting in hot tubs?
To be fair, I mean, that's not a bad thing to stop at. But no, she loves our dogs, and she likes looking at Facebook pictures of dogs. That's about it. Really. Well, for Christmas last year, I did get her felting kit. So she can make like felt, do like felting, like make felt animals and that sort of stuff, felt decorations and stuff. Because she was starting to get into that before Christmas, and because one of her favourite things, she's got all of her Christmas decorations now for her Christmas tree, inverted commas, her Christmas tree, which would be the biggest natural Christmas tree we can fit in the house. But she's got this huge collection of felt animals, so like all different types of animal, just in felt. And that's the decorations for the tree. And so she started trying to make her own. And I bought her all the stuff. It's right here behind me. It's a big bag full of stuff. And it's not been touched since it was opened on Christmas Day. Typical. So yeah, there's not a lot else she likes doing.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. It's all good. Yeah. Anyway, enough of my domestic trouble.
So moving on from Kickstarter, the last part of this section. This could have been news, but Essen Spiel Digital has now officially all finished. And what did you see of it, Sam?
Not a great
Not a lot.
deal, I'll be honest. I did catch a couple of Paul Grogan's Gaming Rules ones. I watched a couple of the Dice Tower ones. To be honest, that was about it. To be honest, I registered for the Spiel Digital website and couldn't actually find my way around it, so I just gave up.
Yeah.
I was hoping there'd be like a BGG style. Here's our stream. So they always used to do that. Don't they? Got essentially a live stream of people that come in. I know they did post up some stuff, but it wasn't a great deal, or it wasn't very immediate, and I just didn't see anything really. So I kept it mainly to the games I'm most interested in that had videos. That was about it.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of disappointment all over, really. I mean, I've seen some people comment of like how disappointed they was with it. I even saw Portal, Ignacy Trezevchek?
Yeah.
He done a little write-up on it. I mean, he compared it to all of the virtual cons that went on. And he at the end he said it was the best of a bad bunch, but he says there was a point. He says there's like, as a publisher you could have brought a stand virtually, so you pay money for this stand. And he says publisher brought stands and they didn't do anything with it. They didn't even put images up. And he's like, what? They're just throwing their money away. He says, because it was like Nick explains, it's like they had this kind of virtual hall where you can go to different stands, and like you just click in there and see what they're on offer. There might be game, and like he did say, like in the real physical thing, you'll be walking around the halls, pretty much the same thing, and there'll be games happening. There'll be people walking up to you, and asking if you want any help or are you interested in playing and things like that. So for an introvert, it was actually really quite nice because there is none of that. You are just left alone. You're kind of this solo experience in this world, but like in some places you'll just turn up and there'll be a game set up like in Tabletop Arena, and you'll be asking if there's anyone to play, but no one's there because it's a massive big internet. So it kind of, things just pass people by, and unless you were looking for certain things, it wasn't a great experience. And he said the good thing that came out of it is that most publishers came together, and the Spiel Digital made like one big like purchasing website, so you could buy like 20 games from this one site and have it all sent as one postage delivery. So he said that was a good thing to come out of it. So you're not paying for multiple postage of games.
That's
you
quite cool.
Put it all into your bin and have it sent at once. So he said that was great on their behalf. They came together and worked on that. But, I mean, there was still not that focus of just passing by a booth and saying, oh, what's that? That looks good. Spending 10 minutes watching other people play. And then saying, I'll buy that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of, I guess, we're all making it up as we go along here, aren't we? Because I think the trouble is there's no. We're all hoping that it won't be necessary next year, and so there's no real incentive to do more than feels necessary from an expense point of view. If you knew it was going to be like this for the next 5 years, I think you'd end up seeing quite a lot of work being done to it to make, try and keep it all relevant and make the experience better and everything else. But the only thing I could think is that maybe next year, let's assume we're all fine and Spiel is on. And
why can't this happen every year? Why can't they develop a Spiel Digital alongside the actual physical thing? Yeah. I mean, this whole idea of buying games from one place would be awesome for people that can't actually afford to travel to Germany every year.
Exactly.
That could actually pick up the new releases coming out there.
Yeah, and they did do it the last couple of years, didn't they, with Spiel, where you essentially have like your pallet shipping, don't you, or whatever. So you could actually, anything you bought at the show, you can actually take to the place and have it shipped to you as one single package. And so they kind of did that in a real world situation. And I think it's just an extension of that to some degree, isn't it? And I think that will be happening regardless next year. I think it wouldn't surprise me if they'll use the same platform, albeit maybe improved a little bit where it can be. But again, you kind of, like you said, where there's virtual stands that have got nothing on them, I think the onus will be very much on, it'll be like a contract with the publisher to say, if you're buying the space, put something on it. Put something on it, or you're going to get kicked off because we're not having empty space on the virtual hall or whatever. And I think it is something that they will, because again, what if next year's okay, but then the year after there's COVID-20, they might need that platform back again. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're a little bit forward thinking. They'll just go, you know what, let's just keep tweaking this and improving it and come up with some more ideas in the background. And it wouldn't surprise me that they'll make Spiel Digital part of the normal Spiel platform. And I could see the same happening with the American ones, mainly.
Gen Con.
I don't remember its name. Gen Con. Yeah, I could see Gen Con doing it. I could see it I could see UK Games Expo doing it to some degree too, potentially. Not quite so much on the retail side, maybe, but certainly as a kind of like a platform to share digitally. It will make, because the digital element of the shows is always a bit poor, and I think it's always because they rely a lot on the people attending to share stuff, and that's normally what you'd watch, isn't it? You'd watch the Rado walkthrough of Spiel or whatever, normally. But if all of those things are being curated in some fashion, then why wouldn't you look at that potentially? So I think it'd be interesting to see what they do with it next year too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I said this to Nick. It's that kind of thing that there wasn't that kind of the social media going, oh yeah, I've just played this game, it's awesome, everyone should check it out. It was a bit lacking, to say the least.
I think the reason for that though is because when you go, A is being there, part of the hubbub. It's like being carried along on a wave of enthusiasm. But it's also like you've made the effort to go, you know what, I'm off for 3 days. I don't think anyone went, Spiel, I'm going to take 3 days holiday and just sit in front of my computer and look at videos all day. I think that's where it fell over, because if people were doing that in bigger numbers, then I think you would have seen it to some degree. But because there was no real event to it, I mean, I think if they kind of sold tickets to try these games online with the designers or whatever, then you'd have had a bit more impact with that maybe. But you'd have had to have pretty much curated the people that did it, so it'd have been the likes of the Dice Tower and Rado and Shut Up and Sit Down and people like that would have been the people that you watch playing it, and essentially like an interview and watching it being played in real time a bit. I think that might have worked and helped to boost some interest, but I don't think you're going to get that from just random people trying to play random games. So it's awkward, isn't it? 'Cause you've only got so much time in your life, and when you're there, I mean, when I went, and you've been, same year, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, year after, I think.
Oh no, you went the year after, didn't you?
Something like that. Yeah.
But you go there, and you just don't have enough time in the day to do half of what you aim to do.
No.
And that's over 3 days. So trying to do that digitally, I think it's the sort of thing that I could imagine if they made it accessible a bit better from an accessible point of view, like being able to discover stuff better and things, then it's the kind of thing that wouldn't be a 3-day event. It would be like a month-long event maybe. You could stretch it out and it would be something that you devour over a longer period of time. Maybe that would work better.
Maybe.
But who knows? I don't. Yeah. Hopefully it won't be necessary next year anyway, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do something similar.
I mean, I think maybe publishers need to be better prepared, because like they could have had live feeds of games happening, even
absolutely.
if they're being played on Tabletopia or Board Game Arena or places like that, where they've set it up, or even like they've put their money into this. They could have had the actual themselves playing the game physically via YouTube or things like that, So when people go to that stand and click on it, like it comes up with their site, and then them playing it via YouTube or something like that, so people can sit there and watch and ask questions about the game, because that's what you would do at Spiel anyway. You'll pass by and look over the shoulders, or me under people's arms if you're my height, and try and see what's being played at the time, and then try and get attention and say, oh, what is this? How does it work, kind of thing. I think, not only does Spiel need to work, or the conventions need to work on it a little bit more, but the publishers need to find other ways of actually, this is how we're going to publish the game if we're going virtual again.
I think it's a part of that is also because I think you'd end up in the situation of it just being the big designers and publishers too, because they're the ones that got the resources to be able to say, right, your job for the next 3 days is to sit there and play that game live on YouTube. Where the likes of the Oink Games guys, or the kind of little 2-bit designers, that are little independent guys that are because the worst thing I can imagine is the impact it's had on some of those guys, where you go to Spiel or even to UK Games Expo is a good example of it too, where you've got a tiny little stand and someone's doing something really interesting, and it's not something that's going to be in retail pretty much ever, or if it is, it will be years, and in tiny numbers. But you go to Spiel and it's there, and you can buy a copy, and it's only €10 or something. And you go, boom, I'll have it. You miss that, don't you? And it's very difficult, I think, for those guys to have an online presence as well. They're not marketers. Some, you might argue they should be, or they'd have to be in that case, but they just don't have the resources. They're people that haven't got the time. They've probably got their own job that's not being a game developer or a game publisher, but they take a week off of their lives to go to Spiel to sort of sell their one game design and have all those meetings with the big publishers to maybe get a contract, or so I feel sorry for those ones for the most part, because they're the ones that are going to really miss out from it not being on. The likes of Portal and Co, they're going to be fine probably, because they'll still be publishing games.
But then he puts a massive effort into conventions and like publicizing like his company and games. I mean, even that fact that he'd done a write-up on it just shows how much he's passionate about like the industry, but also putting his point of view across, and that kind of end of it. So it is, everyone needs to probably do a little bit more if it's going to go this way. And I still say, why can't it go this way next year? Why can't there still be?
Like I said, it'll be in conjunction though, won't it? There'll be for the people that can't go, there'll be the digital element, and it wouldn't surprise me, because I did quite like the format when I first looked at the Spiel Digital site, and they had this kind of like weird kind of, it was almost like the Eclipse board or something, where it's like this kind of little galaxy of kind of zones and essentially like virtual halls, but with this kind of like galaxy kind of thing of star systems linked together and stuff, and you could kind of move around it and click on the different circles to go to the different sort of zones. I could see that being something they continue to do, and why not? I mean, there's an awful lot of people that can't go every year, regardless of whether there's a pandemic on or not. So yeah, why not? And I can imagine quite a lot of people potentially, using that system for things like they want to be part of the excitement and the games that are on the hotness. They're looking at the BGG hotness and seeing the stuff on the BGG YouTube feed or whatever, and they're like, oh, I must have that. That looks awesome. But you can buy it right now, and it'll be with you in like a week's time, or you can wait a month and have it from Amazon or whatever. I can imagine that being quite a popular method as well, perhaps. Yeah. But interesting to see. I think they will do something in conjunction with physical, especially since there's no guarantee that it will actually be running next year either. So who knows?
No. So last few nights I've been spending some time actually looking through, trying to find some interesting games that have come out of Spiel Digital, and so I've got a few lists of games here, starting with Switch and Signal. Now, if you look at the box, instantly shouts Ticket to Ride at me, but it's different. It's got, I can't even bring the link up now. It's a cooperative train pickup and delivery game. It's from Cosmos, and it's by David Thompson. If you think, oh, who's David Thompson? He is the one for Normandy game. Dauntless Normandy, and a very recent game that's really not helping me think. I can't see it.
Is it the follow-up to Normandy, you mean?
Yeah, I thought there's another game that was on Kickstarter that he's just done that I was Sniper Elite. There it is. So he's had his hands in Sniper Elite. He's better known for Dauntless Normandy and North Africa. So, but Signal, lost it. Switch and Signal is a cooperative game where you're basically working together to get these trains to deliver goods from one end to the other, basically. And it's a card play game, so you've got to play these cards down. And it's quite complex. It's not quite complex, but you've got to try and think. And there's signals all over the track stopping your trains from moving, so you've got to change the signals to green before the trains can move on. And a little bit of roller move where you've got to roll a dice and see how far that train moves. But it looks actually quite cool. The board is a little bit bland, but it's not as bad as the Red Cathedral. If you listen to the other podcasts, pretty hard on Red Cathedral. I have to admit, actually, I have looked into Red Cathedral, and the gameplay does look good. I am very interested in playing, but I do wish they had maybe chose a different art style. But anyway, that's a different story. So yeah, switching Signal. Sam, what's your thoughts on?
It's cooperative, so I'm out.
Oh yeah, you don't like cooperative.
No, as soon as it's like when I was shortlisting my games for on the Geek preview thing. If it's had the word, I always look at the look at the art on the board and think box on the artwork and think, yeah, it looks interesting. Then I read the mechanics bit that it says at the bottom. So, as an example, Lost Ruins of Arnak, deck, bag, and pool building, worker placement, and venture. Yep, bang, I'm having that. Card drafting, pattern building, card. Yep, that sounds good. And then I see cooperative, I'm out. Solo, I'm out. 2-player, I'm out.
No.
There's like when I think I've just decided I'm going to be super harsh on everything, but I'm not a fan of cooperative games at all. So I've got to. That's an easy. I'm not interested really. I like to win and fail on my own.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I think this could be a good one for people that play Ticket to Ride a lot, for families.
I think it'd be a good family game.
And Panda, it's got that kind of switching Ticket to Ride together with Pandemic, because it's got the co-op end of it. So it might be a good hit with families that like that sort of thing. Next one, Prague, Caput Regi. I can't even say that. Anyway,
Praga, Caput, Regni.
This looks awesome. Also, there's a lot going on in this. I watched a game in a nutshell video. It's basically this guy's explaining the rules. The rules take half an hour for him to get through.
He does like explain a shell than a walnut shell.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the board looks like it's a throw up of tons of colours. Yeah, there is a lot going on, but I do love some of the mechanics they've used in this. And the designer is the person who made Underwater Cities. I think that's the one. Yeah. Which is quite a heavy
Pulsar
game.
2849 and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Vladimir Suchi.
Yeah, and there's several elements in this. It's this turning the wheel in the top left-hand corner, the top right-hand corner of the board is this wheel action. So you basically pick your actions from this wheel. You see these little tokens that are pulled out of the wheel. So there you're picking your action from that. There's 2 actions on there, but you can only pick one of them to do. And you pick that up. Depending where you pick it out the wheel, you might have to pay for it. You might not have to pay for it, or depending how far these actions have been turned around, you might get points because they've not been picked for a while. So that's quite a nice little concept. You then can take the action, which could be doing all sorts of things, upgrading your action wheel, building a wall, building across a bridge, or building the wall of the wall of shame or something like that, and the cathedral, which is this like stepped up kind of model buildings.
It's like a 3D platform, like a stepped platform.
Yeah, it's no real benefit for it apart from just looking nice. I mean, it could have been done flat, but why would you want to do that when you need to draw people's eyes to it? So yeah, and then they've got this little player board which is all indented. So it's 2-layer boards, which has cubes all over it, and when you turn these wheels around, you might unlock more stuff, and it's quite cool. There's a lot going on. I think I'll scare the wife off if I put it in front of her. So it'd probably be something for like playing with Lewis and Mike on Wednesday evenings if we ever get back to that. But yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah, no, it's got a proper kind of heavy Euro look to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like having been to Prague, it's quite nice to see like elements of Prague built into it in 3D way. So you've got the Charles Bridge that's actually like a cardboard bridge that goes across the river on the middle of the board and stuff. Very cool. It's nice. It looks like an interesting one. So yeah.
So yes, Curious Cargo. This is a 2-player game from Capstone Games, and Roy Courtney. I don't think he's made anything else. Oh, he made Pipeline. No wonder. It's basically Pipeline for 2 players. I was going to say that anyway, because it is. It's got the same thing.
It's the
where
pipeline bit. It's the pipes map bit of Pipeline.
Yeah, but they're not pipes. They're conveyor belts. So you're trying to build conveyor belt systems to go from like where it produces the goods out onto trucks, and you're trying to match that up. And I watched Rado's video of it. It looked very interesting, especially for a 2-player game. It didn't look too complicated going on, so I think they've kind of stepped it down a bit. So yeah, it's very bright, very colourful, and quite possibly might think about picking this up when it actually arrives in the UK.
I think it was one of the comments that was quite common with Pipeline was it felt like it was a bit bloated, and actually the puzzle element of the Pipeline element was the fun bit, and a lot of the other bits weren't so fun. So it feels like they've just gone, you know what, screw it then. If you just like the pipes bit, we'll do the game just with the pipes then.
Well, yeah. That's what makes me wonder about it as well. They've taken all the criticism from Pipeline and said, well, does it need to be 4 players? Can we just do it 2 players? Can we shrink it down? Can it be something else? Can we disguise it as something else, kind of thing? So I think, that's basically what they've done. So...
Yep. That one looks all right. For a 2-player game, it looks interesting.
Sam might need to help me say this one. Freedom Burnt? No.
Well, I mean, this is one of those weird multi-vowel German words, but I would pronounce it probably Feierabend. Which is supposed to be like time's up, finishing time. That's what it's supposed to be.
It is finishing time. So if you haven't guessed, it's a freedom-free game. And this is basically worker placement, but worker placement outside of work. So you're basically trying to get your workers who've had a very busy, hard-working day at the factory or wherever they work, and basically trying to get them enough relaxation and time off to recoup to go back to work the next day. I love the idea of this, so it's kind of the anti-worker placement kind of game. And I thought it was cool if it was working how I thought it was going to, but there were some things in there. I mean, there's all this kind of going to union and demanding better holiday rights and working conditions and things like that. And I was just thought, that's a little bit negative, I thought. but still be interested in playing it.
Yeah, it's Friedman Fries, isn't it? Again, it's I've yet to really. Everything's so bloody green with him. I mean,
but that's the idea of his games, yeah.
I know, but it's like all his games feel very monotone as a result.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of feels that way now. I'm looking at it and I was like, it's all the same. It's not the same color, but it does feel like it's all very. If you know Friedman Fries games, you know what you're in for a little bit. Maybe not in terms of mechanics and stuff as much, perhaps, but I mean, he's always had a bit of a political twist to his games while trying to be inverted commas funny about it at the same time. Sense of humor is bypassed with some people, some of his games, I think. I've not found any of his games that I particularly like that I've tried so far. He's a bit like Stefan Feld for me in that way.
Yeah.
There's like one or two outliers that I'm like, actually, yeah, that's quite cool. So the only game I didn't expect to like from his that I do is that power plant one, which I can't remember the name of.
Power Grid.
Yeah. I like. But anything else I've tried from him, I don't particularly like. Although I do want to try Fearsome Flaws.
I played that. That's all right. Yeah. I mean, it's a favourite with
I've always wanted to try
Monday
that.
Night Group.
But everything else I've tried, I don't like from him. And same with Stefan Feld. I like Notre Dame, but I don't like anything else. So,
is it
this one's
Smelly Fish?
Smelly Fish.
Is it Smelly Fish? Something fishy. Something. Oh.
Fresh Fish.
Fresh Fish.
Yeah,
have you tried that?
No.
That caught me by surprise.
I think that would be alright because it's quite a small light game, isn't it?
It
Same
is.
as Unexpected Treasures, which I did have for a time, but didn't really like. It was a bit like a cheap for sale knockoff. But yeah, I don't know. I just find some of his stuff a bit annoying, irrationally annoying. Because like a lot of his games are either green. All of them are green color. I know that's his thing, but he turns up green. He's like a giant Oompa Loompa, and then all of his games, wherever possible, are like begin with F, preferably 2 words beginning with F. It's just like it feels a bit pretentious. It's like, my name is Friedman Fries, and I'm going to name every game I can FF. So Fearsome Flaws, Fresh Fish. You know, I get it as a niche kind of marketing thing, but for some reason it just annoys me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gimmick, isn't it, for him? What gets him noticed.
But, I mean, it makes sense. It does make sense. But there's something about him. Whenever I see him on videos and stuff, I'm like, oh, pretentious. So I think I've decided that I just don't like him for some reason. It's not fair at all. It's just a kind of knee-jerk reaction I've had now because I didn't enjoy a couple of his games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm with you on this one because it feels like it's like he's taken like a kind of concept of, like I said, like worker placement, but they're not going to work, they're leaving work. But then he's kind of stuck a load more stuff that takes away the fun of that theme a little bit. It's like you want to send your workers off to go and have as much fun or quality time as they can before they have to go back to work the next day, isn't it? It feels like that would be the game. And instead he's kind of gone, but they're going to union meetings and voting to go on strike, and he's like, no, that's not fun.
No.
So, I don't know.
Well, yeah. As I said, I'll be interested to play it. I just think it's not. When some people explain games to me, I thought, oh, that sounds really cool. Not explain, like tell me like the name of it, and like it's this anti-worker placement game where you're trying to get them to relax. I was like, I can envision it already, and then it actually comes out. It's not what I envisioned at all, really. Slightly disappointing, but hey, you can't.
I think again, a lot of his games tend to be quite conceptual as well, don't they? I mean, 504, that was his, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So again, super conceptual, a really good, really interesting idea. Whether it was a good idea is a different kettle of fish, but certainly an interesting idea and a very bold decision to try and make it, and I applaud that kind of innovation. But it's it's a bit like the Jurassic Park quote, isn't it? They spend so long finding out whether they can do it, they don't actually realise whether, make the decision of whether they should do it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Next.
No. Next, Brick and Mortar. This is a game by Ruffy Games. Ruffy Games. So newish company because I've never heard of them. And
second
Nicholas
game of the night that's been artist is Tristan Rossin, same as Mariana Trench.
Yeah, good spot. But the designer is new as well because he's got nothing to his name. So this will be it was interesting. I started watching a video of John Gets Games, but he really annoys me how he does his videos now. So there's only so much I can stand of it. The concept is quite cool. So it's basically you have got this like high street section as your player board, and you're drafting these massive cards. I mean, these are big cards. They're like almost A5.
Boards.
Yeah, their own little player boards in some kind of way. And these are shops. So you're drafting these shops, and they stock certain goods. And so, like at the beginning of the game, you all draft a starting shop, or you draft actually a hand of cards, like Seven Wonders kind of style, and that would be your like kind of own supply shops. And then you get to draft some starting ones from the beginning, and you start with that, and you put goods in that, and then you play around out selling the goods, stocking up, blah blah blah. It's a very interesting concept, and I will want to dig more into it because it seems quite interesting. But just something was that I can't describe why I don't want it in a way. It's hard to explain. I like some bits
cool
of it.
Looking components again. It's like I like they've got like a bidding to sell kind of element where you kind of like selling your shares or whatever. And they've got like this double wheel kind of thing, very Fantasy Flight style, where you've got like a wheel on one side for your quantity that you're selling, and another wheel for the price you're going to sell at, and so it's I quite like that as a blind bidding kind of thing, where you can sort of set your stuff, and then you all sort of turn, I guess you all kind of reveal your bids or whatever. That's quite cool. I like that. But it seems like it might be quite a cutthroat economic game, maybe. Yeah. It's not light. It doesn't feel like it's as light as it wants to be. It feels like it's quite heavy, it looks to me.
Yeah. I think it is quite heavy because there's also chances, like foreclosing shops as well is meant to be good in some kind of way. So I don't know.
With a little bit of negativity in the a little bit too much of real life creeping into some of this, maybe.
I kind of got that. So yeah, I mean, again, probably be one of these. Yeah, I'll play it, but
it looks interesting. Quite expensive again, $59. So I'd imagine that would be that's £50 plus then shipping.
Yeah.
So not cheap.
No. And then last one,
to be fair, it's only $9 to buy it to get shipped. That's pretty good, and it's EU friendly, so that's actually not too bad. To be fair, it's pretty cheap.
All right.
So so that'd be $68. So it's probably about £55 all in. No, it's not dreadful. No. Given the components in it, it's pretty good.
And last one on the list, saving this to last because I think Sam will want to talk about this. Doom Imperium. So this is the new game. I haven't put a link to it, sorry. This is a new game from the... I've forgotten their names now.
Direwolf Digital.
Direwolf, that's it. If you wonder why it's getting us so excited, they basically are the creators of Clank, and Renegade helped them publish it. And it's done by Paul Dennin.
Designer of Clank.
Designer of Clank as well. So yeah, that's quite... I wonder if Paul Dennin's like owner of Direwolf. I think he might be, actually. Because Direwolf are mainly an apps company, weren't they? Because they created the can't think of it. Internal card game, which is kind of
Eternal,
Hearthstone, slight rip-off kind of card game. But anyway, so Doom Imperial is 1 to 4 players. That's what I've just noticed now. 60 to 120 minutes, so an hour to 2 hours long. I reckon this might play a little longer. Because I watched a Dice Tower review, their playthrough, and that went on for 3 hours.
To be fair, they were fannying about.
Oh, they fanny about anyway, yeah. But then, don't we all when we're playing games like
true.
this? So, I don't think it's going to be a fast, fun game like Clank is going to be. I can see elements of Clank, but then it's its own thing going on. So there's deck building going on, but there's also this board thing going where you're not going in for a dungeon, but you're trying to claim parts of Arrakis, the planet, and there's a section for combat where you're putting these cubes into this combat arena, and whoever's got the most wins the combat and wins awards. Then there's also at the side, you're trying to gain allegiance with different factions going on, and as you get higher and higher up this faction thing, points you get and abilities and things like that. It looks really good. I wonder whether they're taking inspiration from books or the new movie coming out, because I thought some of the characters looked very similar to the movie characters. That is,
they are. So quite a bit of not furore about it, but there's some negativity about the artwork, because the artwork's kind of not realistic. It is kind of artistic, but the artwork for the characters that are in the movie is based on the movie actors a little bit. So Paul Atreides will look like a little bit. He has a hint of Timothée Chalamet, etc., etc. So, but I don't necessarily mind that, because they've gone down the kind of artistic version of it. It's not like photo art. And actually, in terms of the houses that they have to portray, they had to go because really and truthfully, based on the film, there's only 2 houses, Atreides and Harkonnen, whereas. And that's, to be fair, in the first book, or even the first 2 books, it's like that. There's only 2 houses really of note. So it's only in the later books that the other houses, like the Riches and so on, or Richese, I don't know how you pronounce it, they come in later on. So they had to kind of go into the deeper kind of later lore of the books in order to kind of flesh it out a bit with some more sort of factions, essentially, or houses to play. But it is ostensibly based on the books as a result of that. But obviously, because Legendary Pictures has got its logo slapped on the front cover, I think it was geared up to be a release that was obviously timed for the film coming out at the same time.
The film, yeah. Whether that's going to happen.
It won't happen now, because the film's been pushed back to this time next year now, I think.
Yeah.
But they are meant to be releasing the game regardless this year, so they're going to be out for Christmas. So. Yeah,
I just want to find something. Just thought of it because I thought it'd be on here, but it's not. So that should be in the podcast. Oh
yeah, this is the add-ons bit, isn't it? The funky miniatures add-on. See, I like the box art of the add-on more than I like the box art for the base game.
Yeah, I didn't notice there was a difference until I just seen this. But so what I've just sent Sam, which taken like half an hour to find, is basically Roy Caladale from Epic Gaming Nights posted on Instagram, Dune Imperium, the Deluxe Edition, and this comes with miniatures, of course, new box art, and I mean I can't really see it too much, but like it looks like the cubes are now going to be miniatures as well. Oh yeah, that's a better picture.
Yeah, so you got like your armies basically. It's on the Direwolf website. It's up for pre-order. Believe me, I'm all over this game. So.
Should I look there in the first place?
Yeah, each faction's got its own sort of miniature. Each player's got its own set of army miniatures.
Yeah.
And agents. And there's even a sandworm miniature, which to be fair, looks like
is that middle one the sandworm?
Yeah. It looks like a male sex toy.
Oh, I couldn't put it better anyway. Yeah, I think they need to redesign that bit.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't have it coming out.
Yeah.
Like having it like a curved tubular shape.
Well, it looks like some kind of spaceship, to be honest.
Oh, no. I'll tell you what it is. It's not a sandworm.
Okay.
I'll bet you that's the Spacing Guild.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
actually a ship. That's actually one of the giant ships. It's not a sandworm. It still looks like a male sex toy, but it's not a sandworm.
Oh, dear.
You'll see what we mean.
Yeah, it might go up as an image on the front page. So
but
yeah,
it's very funky.
So
only shame is the miniatures do cost more than the base game itself.
Yeah, probably. So Sam actually brought this up in our podcast chat and got me interested. So I started listening to the book on Audible, and I have no idea what's going on with the story. I might have to have a second listen just to see if I can make out. I got like the first bit. Woo! He's just showing the price. Whew, okay, breathe.
To be fair, that is the base game and the miniatures together.
Yeah, I would hope so. $105 basically.
It's $50 for the miniatures on their own, and it's $50 for the board game, so it's the same
Is it
price.
worth it?
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Sam?
For this,
yeah,
I would just go for the base game personally. The game hasn't been designed to have miniatures; it's designed to have the wooden pieces. So having the miniatures will just be a bit of a mess. It'll be like using the miniatures in Clank on the normal Clank board, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bother. They're very funky, but they look like they're for a Dune war game, not a Dune board game. So yeah, I'm going to skip. The only reason I'd get it is for the box, and it seems a bit excessive paying $50 for a box.
Yeah. Yeah, nice idea, but yeah, again, it's one of those, isn't it? Everyone now, companies think that everything needs to come with miniatures, and it doesn't. It really just doesn't. I mean, it's like
I don't think this game needed it. People weren't going to. I mean, some people were going to ask for it. Oh, it'd be lovely if it could have miniatures, but I think they would have been in the minority. I don't think for the level of game they were pitching it at, it needed it. But I do applaud them for saying, you know what, we've done them anyway. If you want them, here they are. But we're not going to make everyone fork out for a bunch of crap that they don't want. So I do like the fact they have split it that way, because I think there would have been a case for them, say, launching it with some miniatures in the box, like 5 or 6 or something, costing $20 more per box. People buying it and just being like, I don't want that. I just want to play the game. I'll have wooden pieces, you know. And I think that there is, like we're talking about the price of board games being excessive, and I think that's one of the elements they were looking at, going, you know what, this game's already expensive, and it's expensive because of the license. So it's not the component. The components are perfectly fine. The artwork's nice in general, but the components themselves are fairly standard. You know, I think 5-6 years ago that game would have been a £30-35 game. Now it's a £50 game, purely because of A, the market at the moment, and B, that license, the Dune license, is so expensive.
I thought it was a free entity because
No. I mean, that's why Dune, the classic Avalon Hill game, was only reprinted last year or earlier this year, because they've prevented it since the 70s. The Herbert estate have prevented it from being. They've never given the rights back to do it again. There's been like horrifically bad to try and get anything done in the Duneverse that hasn't been a book that they write or have written for them.
Right.
So yeah, that's why there were no movies. There was no games.
And that's why it's all coming out now, because they must be broke.
Yeah, I think they were. they were bright. Frank Herbert died a few years ago anyway.
Yeah.
Well, quite a few years ago, to be fair. And I think they were just protective of it. But I think it wasn't a case of they were broke and they needed more, because I think Dune will always make money, but they're always going to sell books. But I think the right idea came along. It wasn't like the studio went, we want to make a Dune film. I think it was more a case of they want to make a Dune film, and they've always wanted to make it again. But the right person came along to make it and had a good idea for how to do it. And I think that's what kind of made them go, yeah, fine. And because of that, there was going to be a big push for marketing after that, and it was a big money maker, so why not do it? But the trouble is that it is an expensive license. It's like Star Wars, effectively.
Does book 1 jump forward in many years at one point?
From memory, not a lot.
Because that's where I think I got confused and where I think I need to listen back to it. Because I'm pretty sure it just skips forward several years. And because then all this is happening, because I'm not going to destroy it if you've not listened to it or that. But I'm just like, what is going on now?
I'm going to have to reread it myself because it's been a long time since I read it. But I've got a feeling there's a step between when you first meet Paul Atreides and get the history and background a little bit and stuff. And then it sort of skips a bit in terms of, till they get to Arrakis and take over at Arrakis, I think. And from that point, it's very linear. But I can't quite remember. I don't think there's a great deal of difference because you meet him as essentially an older teenager, and that's where he sort of, I think he might end up as like a 20-year-old by the end of it or something like that. So you're not skipping forward a lot. In the later books, unless you're listening to the wrong one, because the later ones go forward thousands of years.
I mean, I listened on Audible, and the first book I've got is like an hour, 20 hours long.
Yeah. It's a biggie. That's probably abridged as well.
I mean, it's just Dune. So yeah.
Unless maybe that's it. Maybe it is an abridged one. But yeah, I don't know. Let's crack on. It's not interesting for anybody. But yeah, Dune Imperium does look cool, and it is on my wish list. And I'm hoping to convince the wife to buy me one more board game in my life. So I might make that my Christmas present if she runs out of other ideas.
Right. So yeah, that's basically it on the list.
And I know you talked about it in last show with Nick, but I don't know I didn't hear what you said about it yet because I haven't got that far. But Lost Ruins of Arnak is my number one game for the period at the moment, and that's going to be my favourite looking forward to game.
Okay.
At the moment.
Yeah. Do check out Red Cathedral. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'll have a listen to what you say first, and then
just click on it now and tell me what you think of the front cover.
Okay, let's have a look. Red Cathedral. I know the front cover looks pretty crap.
So it's not just me then.
No, I mean it looks like a game from the 80s, doesn't it? Really. To be fair, the board art and stuff doesn't look too bad. The components and stuff are nice. I love the little gems and things. But yeah, it's Devere, isn't it? So that's probably why they've gone for that kind of. It's almost like an ethnic art, isn't it? Like an ethnic art style.
I think it kind of suits that kind of. I think they've gone with the. I don't know if there's like some kind of Russian style with this art.
Yeah, that's what I kind of, because they are a Russian company, I think, aren't they? Or certainly Eastern company, anyway.
I think so. So I can kind of see why they went with this, but I mean, it doesn't sell it to me.
No, the board itself and everything, the components and everything look quite nice. So,
I don't know. I still
gems that are actually proper little gem shapes and stuff. That's nice.
I would still, if I hadn't seen any videos about it, I still would have to be forced to play it. But I have watched videos, and I was like, actually, no, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah. I could sit down and play this. It's actually quite simple. So, So yeah, cool. That's about it then. So, all done.
I can hear the wife loading the dishwasher, which means she's trying to get ready to go to bed. So
that's that hint.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, I say she's loading it. She's cramming as much in as she can, so I'll have to go and resort it now. That's fine.
That's basically what I have to do when a daughter does it for me. Can you fill the dishwasher up? Yeah, right. Go back in, 10 minutes later, reorganise it all. Might as well have done it myself. Okay, thanks, Sam, for turning up.
Yeah. No worries. Finally glad to be back on and
I'll finally get. Maybe we'll have to organise our Christmas special podcast and we all get on, drink beer, and talk about crap as we usually do at Christmas. So
sounds good. Sounds good.
Organise that. But yeah, thank you, Sam, for turning up. Thank you for listening, everyone. This has been another great podcast. Well, kind of great podcast by Devon Dice. And check out our stuff. You can find us on all the social media. You can find our webpage, which probably won't exist much longer. And and you can find me at Depressed Monkey. And at Devon Dice UK. You can find Sam at Spoon of Milk.
Yeah, but why bother? I don't post anything ever anymore,
No.
so don't worry about that. Don't find me anywhere. Don't look.
It's a bit like all of us. Anyway, but yeah, so you can find our webpage and check out the other stuff we do. Check out the YouTube channel. That's hopefully going to get a little bit more exciting soon. And yeah, stay tuned for another episode coming up next month at this rate. So see you all then.
Cheers.